Greetings all, it's Blue Knight, and welcome back to Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. Previously, we had a very rough time attempting one of the tougher skill points in this game, the sequel to Wrench Ninja, which we were unable to acquire. But hey, like, 2 out of 3 skill points on Joba, that ain't too bad. What's equally important, we met up with the shady salesman again, the guy that we got the rhino from back in the first game, and he supplied us with a new gadget, the Levitator, which we were able to use to ultimately land here on the doorstep to the arena. Today, we're gonna take part in the Megacorp Games to see what it has in store for us.
Are you ready for the main event? Introducing one of the fiercest gladiators in the galaxy, Ratchet and some metal guy. They'll be lucky to survive against the toughest gladiators in the galaxy. Let's get it on!
Well, at least in this arena, somebody's putting some respect on Ratchet's name. However, the same cannot be said for Clank. Sometimes you just can't get what you want, can't ya? Well, like in the last, I'm gonna do this, like in the last time we were in one of these arena fights, we get thrusted into a match immediately. And we have a brand new enemy here. There's these spider-like foes, but everyone else, they're kind of the same, but they're just tougher versions of what we've tackled so far. Like these guys, the elite Megacorp guards, not guards, the gladiators. They're just more armored, and they can act faster and hit for more damage, as well as these MSR chainsaw robots. These are I think the V3 model. And speaking of V3 models, these are the MSR flamethrower models. They can both shoot fireballs, and when we get close, activate their flamethrowers. I really upgrade the lava gun yet, so this might be a good time to attempt to do that. We also saw those blade balls. We saw those green blade balls back on Dabo, and I neglected to mention them at the time. They're the blade balls version 2. Nothing special about them. They're just a little tougher to take out, but they normally act the same, as well as the rest of these gladiator enemies. We already see the sword piece on the outside leading into Joba. The spider ones are exclusive to the Megacorp Games Arena. They're known as Nidbots. And there's a reason why there's a heavy arachnic theme when it comes to the rogues gallery, so to speak, for these Megacorp game enemies. You'll see what I mean a little later on. You may have pieced it together from that last cutscene, if you're paying attention. In any case, by winning our first match in the Megacorp Games, we've earned the Gravity Boots. Gravity Boots will allow you to walk or jump on any magnetic surface. This is another returning gadget from the last game, but I believe they're called the Magnet Boots back in the first one. It's the same function either way. Of course, we're gonna fight for more cash prizes, but as we can see, there's a second gadget up for grabs, and a different match type too. A cage match for the Infiltrator. Let's go do this, and see what this is all about. What you gotta do is just stay in the center. Don't worry about the enemies here. Just take the high jump pad all the way up, and watch those guys burn. Well, something can teleport up here, because this cage match acts a little different. A bit of a different perspective too. You can walk around like normal, but I usually like to strafe when I'm taking part in cage matches. Since the enemies are going to be lined up side by side, this is the best way to tackle them. Although try not to get too close to the enemy pack, otherwise they'll surround you, like I was mistakenly doing. But it's not that difficult to take care of. Just wipe out the enemies like usual, and you'll eventually win the cage match. Also those asteroids or meteors or whatever that are firing at you. Sometimes that happens in cage matches too. But that won't stray you from victory at all when you acquire the Infiltrator, our second gadget that we can get from the Megacorp games. But there are a couple of champions we gotta take care of too. They're optional bosses, but I want to show them off. They're worth the time. And the first one we can take care of is the Arachnoid battle. This guy is exclusive to cage matches, and you'll see why in just a few moments.
Introducing the terror of Tarantia. It's shocking. It's amazing. Give it up for the Arachnoid.
The Arachnoid can spawn out Nidbots, hence why we've seen those guys back on the ground matches, I guess. Don't get too close to the Arachnoid too much, otherwise it will hop to the other side like it just did. You can also fire up those electric arcs, I guess, when it doesn't spawn in those Nidbots. But apart from those things, the Arachnoid isn't that tough to take care of, or it is tough to take care of, or not tough I should say. Well, I'm not even what I'm saying anymore. It's not that tough to fight, is what I'm trying to say. And here I am, stupidly trying to use the lava gun against an enemy that tends to hop away from you whenever, thank you camera, whenever you do try to approach it. I am not being smart here. I should use my bouncer. This would be a good time to talk about the bouncer a little bit, actually. As you can see, the bouncer, when you fire off a shot, the bouncer bomb will explode after it makes contact or just bounce around for a bit, and then it will split up into smaller bouncer bombs, and sometimes it will home it on enemies too. This thing is ruthless against crowds and hordes of enemies. It's probably one of the better, stronger weapons of the game too. Like, the amount of damage you can do to an enemy is absurd. Or to a group of foes, it'll just wipe them out clean in seconds. The Bouncer is definitely one of the more legendary weapons among the arsenal Ratchet has acquired over the years.
And the prize goes to Ratchet and the Metal Guy.
I'm pretty sure the Bouncer has made multiple appearances in future games too, come to think of it. I know for a fact that it was a pre-order weapon that you can get if you did pre-order the Ratchet & Clank remake back in 2016, I believe. I didn't get that, but I knew I wasn't missing out on much because I could go through that game just fine without the Bouncer, but it would have been nice to have either way. Regardless of Bouncer, it lives up to its reputation. It's absolutely ruthless. So we can do damage avoidance as well. After cage match. I guess that other one's not locked yet. I guess I'll take on a couple more matches before I can find that other champion. So in the meantime, I guess we'll do this one, just to give my Bouncer a little more screen time. 90 enemies in 90 seconds, no problem, says the Bouncer. If you look at that, you can just wipe out crowds in so little time. And if it doesn't wipe out anything or like kill a single enemy, it's gonna do a lot of damage because those bouncing bombs, they more often than not home in on any adversaries too. Be especially helpful against these Nidbots. Or a screen nuke like that, that could also help. So I just alternate between switching my bouncer and my lava gun, because both those moves are pretty good for ground control, kind of think of it. Let's do that. Only 30 seconds left. I don't think it's any problem. We can make up for lost time here. I think I'll stick with my lava gun for the rest of this round. Where are you? Hello? Oh, there you are. Now, am I kind of close here? Oh, I'm looking kind of close. I think I'm dilly dallying too much on this, relying on the bouncer. Ooh. Where's the last one? What? Oh, come on. Oh, really? You died like 2 seconds after. Like 2 seconds after the clock expired. That was rude. We're gonna do this again. Well, I did not mean to do that. No, I'm not being a coward. We're not exiting yet. We have to take on the other champion. Did not mean to hit triangle by accident. That was just me butt mashing a little too crazy. There we go. I failed that like 2 more times before I finally was able to win that. And I had to use some of my upgraded weapons too in order to do it. I just stopped fooling around that point and decided to get serious. Thankfully I didn't upgrade any of the stuff that I don't have upgraded yet. Still not close enough? Okay, fine, I guess we'll do something else. You didn't miss out much. In fact, there was a lot of weapons that involved tons of screen flashing that was going on with 90 and 90, so you didn't miss out on anything at all. What else is gonna be good? You know what? Let's do this, because I'm sure you guys are gonna love hearing me be paranoid as hell in damage avoidance. I cannot take a single hit while going through 5 rounds of enemy combat, as well as all the hazards are now out in full force. I was gonna do what I can to get these guys to stay away from me while not stepping on anything that might chop off my toe or burn me to a crisp. Now, at least these hazards affect enemies too, so they're gonna end up sliding around the place if they're not able to float around like those blade balls can. Round 4 out of 5, that's not bad. Oh crap. I forgot about these guys. I don't know why I did forget about them. Use a bouncer instead. At least I can get some nano by added towards that. That's not the last round yet. Oh god. A bunch of these guys. No! Ah, come on. These sword beasts are the worst. When they charge at you like that, there's very few things in the world that can stop them from charging at all. Those guys are just especially annoying. They are so ruthless, especially for a challenge like this too. I swear, they must be like the closest thing this game has to super armor. That's what it feels like sometimes. Bounce off of these gladiators. But something I didn't mention about the shady salesman we met last episode. It turns out that at first he and Slim Cognito were gonna be revealed to be the same person, which really makes a lot of sense when you think about it. They're both in the same line of work. They operate the black market and do shady dealings. They're not really the cleanest people out there. Yet they do offer some pretty good artillery for you, but still, it also comes at some very... You know, let's use these guys as the noise since I haven't used them yet. I need some protection like this. Plus, those guys, they do offer some good weapons, but do very illegal means. Okay, now here comes these stupid sword beasts again. The Bowser's one of the few things that can stop them in their tracks. So, that's a hold on, there's a crowd of them too. But yeah, it doesn't really make that much of a shock to learn that Slim Cognito and the Shady Salesman weren't gonna be revealed to be the same guy at first. But for some reason they decided to split them off into two different characters. Not sure why, but that's a thing. They essentially have the same purpose, so I don't know why they both have to exist. Now we finally got to see the other champion, Megapede. If you ask me, Megapede is probably the easiest one out of the bunch. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna break my promise a little and go for the mini rocket tube because I know this weapon is pretty helpful against Megapede, and you're about to see why.
Megacorp is pleased to welcome a returning champion. He slithered his way into all of our hearts. Please give a round of applause for Megapede.
So Megapede, it floats around the arena while dispensing bombs. Just shoot at its body and then take out the sentient part when it comes to life to do more damage to it. You're essentially just picking apart Megapede one piece at a time while avoiding all these bombs. When you really break it down in terms of it being compared to the other champions, it's kind of a wonder why this thing is considered a champion to begin with. I mean, it's the most passive out of the four, more or less. And the way that you have to take it down is pretty simple by all things considered. Which is why I like using the mini rocket tube against this thing, since it can break off a part guaranteed, and it can also shoot it down again once you do separate that segment from Megapede. But once you do have it down to very little health, it will break off into three separate parts, and they'll all try to attack you at the same time. It's not that hard to do. Makes you wonder why Megapede is considered a champion to begin with. And it's also this. Kill Megapede in 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure I just did that, so we're gonna do it again. Cause why not? It's pretty weird that this thing is considered a champion. I don't know why Megacorp decided to build something as lame as this. I mean, when one weapon can essentially single-handedly take it down, makes you wonder why that this thing is even considered deadly at all. Shoot at you again. Don't avoid me. You're almost halfway done. You only got like 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. I'm pretty sure we're gonna make good time in succeeding this challenge. I wasn't originally planning to do this challenge, but considering how fast a mini rocket tube can damage this thing, why not? I have taken a lot of damage, but look at that. It's just making scratches against me. So that the HK-22 can also be helpful against Megapede, especially with the lock-on mod like that. Like, come on, Megapede. What planet did they decide to construct you? Because wherever you came from, you need to go back to that factory and be like retooled or redesigned or something. You are not a challenge at all. You're the weakest of the four. At least you come with a lot of bolts at the end too. That is what really matters. That's pretty much all the interesting stuff you can do. You can do more challenges and get more bolts on the deal. Like Hazard Cage Match, it's not that difficult either. In Hazard Cage Match, those meteors are gonna be coming out of, I guess, what's a magma pool or a lava pool? I think it's magma. But it's gonna fire off throughout the entire match. That's essentially the quote-unquote hazard to Hazard Cage Match. You can use those hazards to your advantage though by luring enemies into one of its line of fire, and they'll take a lot of damage. Or if not, they'll flat out die or fall off like that. It's pretty funny when they do tumble down back into the pool of magma. Oh, okay. Wasn't expecting that. I wasn't paying attention to the upgrading meter to the lava gun. But now the lava gun, it ain't so good anymore. I'm gonna say that. It's upgraded to what many people consider to be the worst upgraded weapon in the entire game, the meteor gun. And I have to say that I kinda agree with what the general consensus is about with the meteor gun. I mean, you take away something that can swirl around even after you let go of the fire button for a few seconds, and it can damage crowds pretty well. And then they just turn into what's essentially a straight shooting weapon, and it's not even utilized pretty well for, like, locking onto a specific enemy. I don't think the lock-on mod is available for this thing. I'm not too sure, but if it is, it does make the meteor gun a little better. But besides that, the quote-unquote upgrade to the lava gun is not that big of an upgrade at all. Granted, it hits for way more than the lava gun used to do, but I think I'll take the former form of it any day of the week than just something that straight shoots at one particular target, since it used to be capable of dealing with crowds of enemies at a time. I think that's all we're gonna do here. The challenge is in... what the hey. Why not? I'll do limited weapon challenge with the wrench, just to make up for the fact we did not get the wrench into skill point. So I can feel a little better about myself when it comes to that. I'm not gonna look forward to doing that off screen. So as simple as it sounds, just beat enemies with the wrench. Remember, you can use the Comet Strike to your advantage by throwing the wrench and moving out of the way too. Or if you're feeling really scared, just make the enemies kill each other. You're capable of doing that if you get the enemies close enough, and they'll inadvertently take swings at one another. The biggest threat you might have will probably be the Sword Beast, or probably these guys, the stronger flamethrower bots. But once you get close to them, they just act like regular flamethrower bots to begin with. As far as these guys go, they're not that hard to take on. They're stronger chainsaw bots, but you can deal with them with the same methods as you could before. Something like this could be hard to take care of, not unless you use a hyper strike like that. Already up to round 5 on this. I thought this would be a little longer. Now there's more of these sword beasts. You can stop them with a hyper strike, thankfully. But I prefer using a secondary weapon to stop a sword beast charge at me like that. Still really knowing how they do that, and they're not flinched by like a variety of weapons when they charge at you. It's just the worst thing. There's Lancer, the Time Weapon Lancer challenge. I think we'll save that for later on because since you're timed on using a weapon with limited ammo, that could be a little challenging. Oh, this for sure we gotta save for the post game, the Impossible Challenge. That's a gauntlet in itself. So we're gonna save some of that for when we do the bonus stuff of this series. And I guess to have one last thing before we round things off for today, we'll show off what the Infiltrator is like. And this thing, oh boy, let me tell you, this Infiltrator, it ain't fun to use. Use the control system to pick a path for the green circuit, connect the circuit back to the start to open the lock. That is a lot easier said than done. If you pick a path like that, then it's not gonna lead anywhere, it's just gonna lead to a dead end. So you gotta be careful on where you control the pathing for the Infiltrator. That one wasn't that bad first one, what you expect. But trust me, that's gonna get so much more annoying later on. And when you're unable to complete a circuit, I guess, to open a lock, then you have to start right from the very first step. It doesn't matter how far you get, it doesn't matter if you're just literally one notch away before the time runs out. If you're unable to complete it fast enough, you'll get reset all the way back to 0 progress. It sucks. This thing is a worse version of the Trespasser from the first game in my opinion. I would rather take the Trespasser than the Infiltrator. It's just really annoying. It's not that bad now, but trust me, when you use it more in the game, you're gonna realize just how much of a nuisance it really is. Ooh, so I think we got a lot done today. We got the magnet boost, or I guess the gravity boost, whichever you want to call it, it's the same function. As well as the Infiltrator, while taking on the Megacorp Games champions, and taking on a variety of arena fights in that establishment, in that building. Wrench Ninja, that's something I'll do on my off time at some point, but I think we've done more than enough here on Joba. We also got the lava gun upgraded, quote unquote upgraded. And the only thing we can buy right now, or we'll have to work on buying, is the plasma coil. I'll have to at some point start grinding for bolts off screen, because I don't want to waste time during the series to get the cash for that, especially when there's going to be more expensive stuff to get later on. So next time, we're going to leave Joba behind for now, and head to the next planet that we have coordinates for. That is Planet Todano. One level that I have a few fond memories of, and I remember it being quite fun to play through as well. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Until we meet again, farewell for now.